Well, hello everyone and welcome and happy Sunday to each of you. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend and an awesome Sunday. And let me go ahead and turn my phone off so we don't hear that constant ding. All right, everybody. So welcome. Again, I hope you're having a great day. I am thoroughly enjoying the weekend and loving this hot summer weather here in Chicago. So, all right. So, welcome to those of you who are joining me live today on this Sunday, as well as those of you that are going to catch the replay. So, really excited to have you today. And today I'm doing a special training on sales funnel secrets, how to fill your kick ass online course with effective sales funnels. So, I love this topic. I've been talking quite a bit about it lately. Um, and there's a lot of reasons behind that. I'm going to be sharing some of those with you today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lesli Bitel, and I'm a business coach and mentor for dietitians, nutritionists, as well as integrative health professionals. And again, I'm really excited to have you here with me today. All right, guys, so I'm going to check in really quick. Yeah, give me a quick comment in the comment section. I want to know, are you excited to learn how you can successfully fill your classes and workshops with the right people? So give me a yes in the comments if that's you. All right, so let me give you just a quick overview on what we're going to cover in today's mini training. So first, we're going to be talking about how and why to offer groups. So how and why to offer groups, or how and why to move into a leverage business model using a sales funnel. And again, I'm going to be sharing a little bit of insight on my own practice and how moving into a leverage practice model made all the difference for me and my family. We're going to talk about why marketing your course is just as important as creating it. What is a sales funnel? What are the different components and how you can create an effective sales funnel in order to fill up your online course? And then we're also going to touch on why you need to start now, why you need to start this process ASAP, as soon as you possibly can, regardless of whether or not you have an online course ready to go. All right. So those are the main things we're going to touch on today. I'm also going to be sharing actually a time-sensitive opportunity for those of you that are wanting to take a deeper dive and really master this material. Really, my intention is to help you to successfully create, market, and sell your own online course or group program. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit about how you can take things to the next step so that you have everything you need to get your course up and running as early as this summer. So no more waiting around thinking about it. My goal is to help you to make it happen. So if you guys want to take a sneak peek, I am going to give you just a little sneak peek. You can head on over to lucrativecourseblueprint.com and you can get some advanced information in terms of how to take that next step with me. And again, how to have everything you possibly need locked and loaded, ready to go so that you can create and successfully fill your online course this summer, as soon as this summer. Some of you might want to wait till fall. That's completely fine. But my goal is to make things happen quickly, help you to really get the support and handholding that you need so that you can put things into action very, very quickly. All right. So, all right, I see we've got some new people joining us, and I want to welcome you all. Welcome to those that are just joining me, and also those of you that are going to catch the replay. We are going to be talking today about sales funnel secrets to fill your kick-ass online course. All right, so let me share with you just a little bit of background. I want to share a little story, actually my own story for those of you that don't know. And I want to illustrate really why I'm so incredibly passionate about helping practitioners and coaches to move into this one-to-many model with online courses and programs. So a few years back, I was chugging along. I had my own nice little practice. I worked hard to create it, and I was actually quite proud of it. But I was starting to hit some limitations. So I was finding that I really had no more hours in the day to serve people. I was essentially full, which is a really great thing. I mean, it's a really good problem to have, but also because there was an expected rate for my work, I felt like my income had kind of topped out in terms of what the market would bear. And of all things, my two beautiful kiddos were in high school. And I'll tell you, it was not lost upon me that college was right around the corner. So, what I realized at that time is that I needed a very big cash infusion, a cash infusion that was a higher number than one or two new private clients could bring in. And again, remember, I was in a position I really didn't have extra space to open up in my calendar to even take on additional private clients. So I was working with a mentor at the time. So I remember turning to her, and fortunately, she had the obvious answer. That's the beauty of working with an experienced coach. The answer was right in front of my eyes, and that was to bundle my expertise into a course that many people could take at the same time. So, not only in this model would I make exponentially more income from that, but the beauty of it is each individual participant would be making a smaller and easier investment than as compared to working with me privately. So, in other words, it really was a win-win all the way around. So, I had thought about the people, that I'd spoken to in the past that maybe were a little bit hesitant to jump right into my, elite private one-on-one program. So, I felt like this would be really the perfect taste of my work that would be very affordable in those cases. And I also knew that for the hours that I invested, my ultimate income would be significantly higher than in the one on one model that I had with private clients, right? So this model would really add an additional, very significant income stream to my one on one business. So I put together my first program at a price point of only 497. I knew it would be great to actually have something at that lower price point that people could, enter into working with me at that lower price, and that it would bring in people who are out there and waiting, but this just could, for whatever reason, could never initially jump into that more expensive private coaching program. So again, I was really excited about being able to just simply to be able to serve more people. That was really a huge motivator for me. So the bottom line is I had great results. So this was my first real launch. I had in that $497 course, I had 63 people enroll in the course again at 497, which, do the math, that's a nice paycheck, right? Over 30 grand of income. When I was so excited because I officially had a nice chunk of income to dedicate as a college fund. And really, the most exciting thing was that a subset of these people, after being introduced to my work and getting a ton out of it, getting really great results, a nice chunk, a subset of these people chose to continue working with me in my higher touch programs, right? So they did the course and they got such awesome results and such a great experience that they essentially wanted more. So several of those folks moved into my Six Figure Biz Academy, and a couple even became private clients after that too. So I generated, in this case, a lot more income from the people, that started out in this original $497 course, right? So can you see how that it really starts to add up? So, and another great thing that happened that a lot of people don't talk about, just doing a course is such a great model for increasing your authority in the marketplace, dramatically increasing your brand recognition, and of course it's its own funnel in of itself, right? By doing a paid course, by putting that out into the marketplace, what I've always found, and my clients have found this to be the case too, it's a great strategy to jumpstart that email list as well. So there's so many advantages to it. Now, one question that I commonly get is, well, that's great, Leslie. Great for you that this all worked out, but does this actually work in the practitioner to consumer market? And the answer is a resounding yes. So I've got all kinds of really good examples of my clients being very successful moving into this one-to-many model as well. So case in point, one of my wonderful clients, Britton Coleman, who can be found at autismdietitian.com. So Britton, I did work with Britton privately. In April, okay, guys, this is this past April, in the midst of the COVID lockdown, she had her best month ever. She hit 18,000 in profit. That is minus all of her expenses. And she did her first launch in April as well, April 2020, and made 6,500. That's $6,500 with her first course launch. And again, this was right in the middle of coronavirus when people were really pulling back on their spending. So we will see what happens, in terms of like, people moving into that next step with her. So I would say $6,500 is really just the beginning for her, because again, most often what happens is people, once they do that initial step with you, that first paid course, they're going to want more, right? They're most likely, there's always going to be a subset of people that want to go to that next step with you. So that's part of the beauty of moving into this model. All right, so what I want to do is jump into some of the content that I have to share with you today. I first want to just talk about some of the drawbacks of the one-to-one model and give you some ideas in terms of what we can do instead. So the one-to-one model, let me be clear, it is a great opportunity, and I'm not suggesting that you ditch it. Okay, just want to make that really clear here. What I'm suggesting is that, in a healthy business model, and you guys already know this, I'm pretty sure, ideally you're going to have multiple income streams, right? We're not going to be 100% reliant on one thing to generate income. So what I'm recommending here is that, of course, you want to have your one-on-one clients, right? I love my one-on-one clients, my private clients. I'll always offer, some one-on-one services in my business. The thing I'm suggesting is that we add to that, right? So we're able to add a whole entire revenue stream to your business by adding, courses and groups. And that's where things get really exciting. All right. So in terms of the drawbacks of the one-on-one service delivery model. So first, it is hours for dollars, right? It just is. You're essentially trading time for money in a one-to-one ratio. Your income will eventually top out, just like mine did. And you'll eventually max out on the number of billable hours that you can allocate to seeing private clients, right? And that is exactly the scenario that I found myself in. And frankly, that's exactly what was happened to my client, Britton. She had so many private clients wanting to work with her, actually in her high-end one-on-one package and program, that she needed to, and she wanted to continue to serve people, right? She didn't want to just have a wait list and call it a day. So this was really the perfect solution for her. So you're eventually going to max out on the number of billable hours that you can allocate to seeing clients. And with these restrictions, your income will eventually also hit a ceiling, right? And that's really what we start to see. So what is the solution? Well, I bet you can guess. And that is to create leveraged and passive income streams, right? So we want to add additional income streams to your current model. So I just want to spend a moment defining what what exactly is leverage and passive income. So leveraged income refers to being able to serve many people at any given time, right? So, you take your given hour that you're working, instead of just working with one person, one-on-one, you are moving into the one-to-many model, and you're reaching a vast number of people instead. So you're able to serve more people in that given hour. Passive income refers to generating revenue. Most usually it's via the assets you've already created in your business, such as, a digital product. Maybe you've got a workshop, maybe you've got a course that you've already created. And generally speaking, this is a standalone product that you create once, and then you're able to generate income as a result, right? Passive income. All right, so let's move into the second big topic that I want to talk about today, and that is why it is so incredibly important to market and sell your course effectively. So let me give you a little background. So let's say, hypothetically, you've got this great idea, you create it. Some of you, I will be the first to say, some of you are not clear yet what your great idea is yet, and that's perfectly okay, because trust me, you have plenty of options that can be used as an awesome course. So, my upcoming course called Lucrative Course Blueprint is going to hold your hand and take you for a much deeper dive in the course creation process. So, trust that I've got you covered in that regard. But let's say, just for the sake of today's conversation, that you've already gone through, let's say, the validation process of your course idea, and you're confident that you have something that your market is eager to buy. All right. So I teach you how to do that in Lucrative Course Blueprint. I teach you how to validate to ensure that it's whatever you're going to create is something that people actually are going to want to, spend their money on and buy. So for the sake of today, we're going to assume that, you've already gone through that process and you've got a concept. All right. So the thing I want to share loud and clear, I want to shout it from the mountaintops, is that understanding how to market and sell your course is as important as creating it. I know that sounds crazy, but it's really true. It's a critical part of the process because this will determine your profitability. And honestly, just remember, if no one buys your course, even if it's like the most amazing, award winning, insanely awesome course, like the most awesome course known to man, it doesn't matter if you don't get it into the hands of the people that need it and will buy it, right? So that's why I'm so passionate. I'm emphasizing this because here's what I see quite often. I see practitioners get so bogged down in the course creation component that actually one of two things happens. Number one, they're so bogged down, borderline obsessed with the course creation process that they just never get the course created or launch because they just get stuck. And, a lot of times they either have too many ideas popping into their head and they're just not able to pick one and go with it, or quite often they get stuck in that perfectionism, right? It's just never perfect enough to actually sell. All right. Scenario number two that I often see is that practitioners and coaches spend tons and tons and tons of time creating the course, like doing all the recordings and the worksheets and like all the different components of the course. But then they launch it or they release it and they do not have a solid sales and marketing plan. And what ends up happening, I'll bet you can guess, is again, they've got this amazing course sitting there collecting dust, right? Nobody knows about it and nobody buys. And it's super sad because quite often, these folks have spent, a lot of really key time creating this course and putting it all together and making it beautiful and perfect. And then it's really sad when it just sits there and nobody buys. So we do not want that to happen to you. All right. So that is why, guys, course creation, super important. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, but the sales and marketing process equally as important, for real. Maybe even more important, believe it or not. Okay. So all right, so let's move to the next point, which is, let's talk about what exactly is a sales funnel and how can you create one that's going to effectively fill your online course. All right, so this is really the meat of what I want to talk to you about today. All right, so a sales funnel is essentially the process through which your audience, number one, meets you, number two, they get to know you. They learn the value of your material, just kind of the value of your work. And then they're offered an opportunity. Again, this is in the sales funnel, right? They meet you, they get to know you, they get a sense of who you are, what you're all about, your vibe, the value that you bring to them. And then they are offered an opportunity to purchase from you. That's really what a sales funnel is, right? That's really it in a nutshell. So one way I like to picture a sales funnel is to think about a sales funnel. You can kind of picture it as the cone portion of an upside down triangle. Okay, so just kind of picture it as an upside down triangle. So again, I'm going to reiterate this a little bit. So your sales funnel is a process through which your client eventually meets or finds you, gets to know you and how brilliant you are, how valuable your material is. Remember, guys, this is often called the know, like, and trust. And then they're offered the perfect opportunity to purchase something from you, at which point many of them, because they've already gotten to know you, you've already provided value, many people at this point are in fact ready to buy. All right. So they already trust you because of their previous exposure to you. And this is why you have to, generally speaking, you really have to invest time warming up your audience before you ask them to buy from you. That, my friend, is a sales funnel in a nutshell. And the reason this is so important is it's very difficult. I mean, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it really is very difficult to get someone who is cold to you, meaning they just don't know anything about you, to actually get them to buy something from you, to purchase something. So in a sense, we like to say that we need to warm them up a little bit first, right? And that's really the purpose of a sales funnel. So a sales funnel is a multi-step process that coaxes people into eventually becoming clients or customers, and it helps build rapport along the way. It's very, very strategic and intentional. All right. So again, I want you to picture that upside down triangle, right? And just kind of, you can even draw it on a piece of paper. You could kind of map this out for yourself right now. And then you want to divide that, just draw two parallel lines across that triangle, essentially dividing it into three parts. So, all right, so let's talk about what those three parts are inside of the triangle diagram. Again, the triangle represents your sales funnel. All right, so you've got the top of your triangle, which is the widest part, and this represents all the ways that people can meet you and sample your brilliance. Okay, so that can, oh my gosh, like the sky is the limit. Seriously, there's just a million ways, if just countless ways that people can get to know you and come across your work. So just throw out some examples. So this can include hearing you speak at free talks, reading your blogs, visiting your website. Maybe you've got a podcast. Maybe you're a guest on somebody else's podcast. Maybe you have some great referral sources that recommend you. There's so many different ways. Speaking is another great way. Doing Facebook Lives like I'm doing, right? Like that's another awesome way, or Instagram Lives or LinkedIn Lives, whatever your preference is. Again, there's just so many ways to get in front of your target audience. And I hope that you're consistently doing several of these, right? Very consistently in your business. All right, so let's move on to the middle part of this triangle, i.e. the sales funnel. So the middle of your sales funnel is where you begin to create more of a relationship with your audience, primarily getting them onto your email list and your database, right? So at this point in the middle of your sales funnel, I like to just say it's, email list interaction, or, database, whatever kind of language you want to put in that middle part. So basically, at this point, you'll offer something for which they need to actually register by giving you their email and address, right? I should say their name and their email address. So this middle part of the funnel, you're actually asking them to take a step, right? It's a free step, but it is a step. They're actually agreeing to share with you their name and their email address in exchange for something of value that you're providing to them. And again, that thing, we'll talk about some options here, but it's very strategically, it's strategic, right? And I'm gonna share more about that in just a few moments. In exchange for this valuable content, they sign up with their email address. And the bottom line here, why this is so important, not only Do they get that instant gratification, right? Which people like. They really like that, right? Like a PDF of some sort that really addresses one of their core challenges that they're experiencing. Or it could be, some kind of a health assessment or quiz. Um, it could be an audio series, a free report. It could be all kinds of different things. Bottom line is you're asking them to take a step by giving, in exchange for this material, this PDF or whatever it is that you're using, they take a step and they give you their name and email address. And this allows you to continue to be in touch. And this is the key thing, guys, it allows you to create a real deepening relationship at this point because you can email them. They've freely given you their email address. This is where email marketing really becomes critical, right? Providing value, additional touch points through, through that email, right? So that's the middle part of your funnel. Okay. Now the bottom part of the funnel, I again just continue to imagine, the bottom part of that funnel is that triangle, the tip of the triangle where it's, gotten more narrow. And this represents paid offers. Okay. So if you have a course, a workshop, your passive income products, whatever it is, that tip of your triangle would be, the narrowest part, and that represents the people who actually become buyers, right? They've found you, they've fallen in love with you, they recognize your brilliance that you bring to the table, and they like you so much that they go from raving fans into actual buyers. Okay, so that's super important, that part of the sales funnel is they actually take their wallet out and invest in something. They actually buy, so they become buyers. Okay, so all right, so just to kind of reiterate, the reason the funnel is shaped like an upside down triangle is because the top, which is the widest part, is where most people enter into your funnel. And this is, again, where your audience meets you. Then a subset is going to navigate to the middle portion of the funnel and give you their name and email address in exchange for what we call a lead magnet. And then a smaller subset is going to go on to become actual buyers. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how to create your own sales funnel. If you already have a course idea in mind, honestly, like let's say you already have something in mind. Let's say you've already got a course. You just don't know how to market it. So again, guys, we go into so much depth on the whole marketing and sales process inside of Lucrative Course Blueprint. But just for the sake of our conversation today, I recommend that if you've already got an idea or a course concept and you're just trying to kind of map out your sales funnel, what I would recommend is that you reverse engineer the process by first starting, start with your paid program, right? That narrow point of your sales funnel, right? So if you've got a course concept and you're ready to start marketing, think about your paid program first, and then ask yourself, what would be a good lead in to that paid course? Honestly, ideally, it's going to be something that's related to the paid course, but it's different than the paid course, right? Because, it has to be. You can't give the same thing. You don't want to do that. So you have to be very strategic on this part, right, guys? So you want to think about, what is the paid course and what is something I could deliver in the form of a PDF or a webinar that's going to provide incredible value, and it's going to illustrate your expertise, and key point here, guys, leave people hungry for the next step, which is your paid program. So it has to be very strategic. All right, so then after you've kind of mapped that part out, the middle part, you need to ask yourself, where can I access my target audience, right? Brainstorm a whole bunch of ways that you can intentionally access your target audience. Again, it could be blogging, guest podcasts. Maybe you've got your own podcast. Maybe you come across someone on YouTube that is in your same market, but you're not in direct competition. Maybe you serve the same population, albeit in a different way, right? And perhaps, you can figure out a way to collaborate, right? I love collaborations. It could be, YouTube channels. It could be you have your own YouTube channel. Maybe you want to set up an interview with other people that have a big following. Perhaps you want to play around with some paid ads, right? And that's how another way you can get in front of and access your target audience. Maybe you decide to do something like what I'm doing and do regularly scheduled Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives. And on your Instagram or Facebook Lives or LinkedIn, whatever you want to do, you in that early part of your sales funnel, you're actually asking people, you're giving them value by, maybe doing some education of some sort. And then your call to action is, hey, I've got this free, PDF, this free, ebook or report. It's designed to help you to X, Y, and Z. Here's how you grab it, right? Here's how you grab your copy. And so like that would be how you would get additional people on your email list by doing some of these things. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a quick example of, I would say many of my clients that I work with, actually, they usually come in a couple of different camps. So many of my clients are functional medicine practitioners, many, many, many. And I also have quite a few clients that are in the intuitive and mindful eating sector. So I'd say those are probably the two biggest groups that I serve. Some kind of in the middle, like with weight management, more the traditional approach, but mostly, again, functional medicine and mindful and intuitive eating. So let's just take an example with the intuitive and mindful eating sector. I actually had a private practice myself, working with mindful eating for weight management. So, all right, so in this example, let's say that you have a paid course. Let's just say hypothetically, you've got like, I don't know, like an 8-week intuitive eating course of some sort, okay? So to reverse engineer this process, just as an illustration, the middle part of your sales funnel, so remember that middle part, we need to be strategic and we need to figure out, what's it going to be? What am I going to share with people that's going to entice them to exchange their name and email for something that I can provide that's of value? And that thing that's of value really needs to be positioned to solve an urgent problem that your market is experiencing. And don't forget, it doesn't need to be related to your paid product. They can't just be completely, different topics, right? So, all right, so the middle of your sales funnel could be, here's just an example. It could be a PDF, perhaps, that talks about the benefits of intuitive eating and how it can be life-changing for your clients to achieve X. I would add the benefit, like intuitive eating all by itself, I don't know if you're going to find too many people saying, I just want to learn how to eat intuitively just because it's fun, right? You really, guys, you want to add a benefit. What's it going to do for them? So you could do maybe a PDF, right? The benefits of intuitive eating to achieve blank. So that they basically, it's positioned so they opt in for the PDF. And then if you wanted to do a webinar as well, which quite often is what I do, once they get that PDF, they're like, yay, this is so cool. And then they're automatically invited to a webinar, okay? And on the webinar, again, looking at your sales funnel, this is just an example. The webinar, maybe you decide, okay, here's a name that you could name your webinar. Ditch the Diets for Good, 8 Life-Changing Pillars of Intuitive Eating. Just an example, just off the top of my head. So you've got your paid program. Your paid program is like a deep dive on, maybe the 8 pillars of intuitive eating, where you're actually teaching people how to implement. The middle part of your funnel, just as an example, could be a really cool ebook or report that, describes, maybe the five or handful of benefits that intuitive eating, how basically how it can change someone's life, right? And maybe you also want to have a webinar. And the webinar example that I gave was Ditch the Diets for Good, 8 Life-Changing Pillars of Intuitive Eating. On that webinar, remember, on the webinar, you're going to lead people to the paid program, right? So you're going to do what's called an upsell. So they're on this webinar, it's free, they're there. There's going to be a percentage of people that want to take that next step with you, and that's the paid step. So you guys have to know how to authentically yet effectively basically do an upsell on a webinar. And I'll bet you guessed it, I go into a lot of detail teaching that in Lucrative Course Blueprint. Okay. So, all right. I just took a quick peek. All right. So just wanted to take a peek to see if there are any questions coming in. So anyway, so that's just an example of a sales funnel. All right. For someone that's in that market, intuitive eating, mindful eating. And remember, the top part of your triangle, like the widest part, again, that's all about how you get in front of your target audience. And, so you really want to be brainstorming, like, what are all the ways that I can really ramp up this whole process? Maybe I'm going to reach out and be a guest blogger. You've identified where your audience is hanging out. Maybe you can ask to be a guest speaker for support groups. Maybe you have identified some really, really busy and engaged Facebook groups, maybe some private Facebook groups. Maybe you reach out to the owner of a Facebook group such as this and say, hey, I'd love to serve your audience. Just wondering, can I do like an educational Facebook Live for your audience? And, you just want to be cognizant you're not selling your paid course there. Usually that, people kind of frown upon that. But sometimes people are totally cool with you offering like a pay or a free next step, right? Like like you could potentially, you'd want to ask, but you could potentially offer your PDF, your free thing. If you were a guest speaker or did a Facebook Live in somebody else's private Facebook group, you could do your own Facebook, Instagram lives. You could do some paid advertising. Like there's a gazillion ways that you can do this. All right. Now, I will say it's really important when we assimilate all these different moving parts in a successful launch. I will say this, it is super important to have a launch calendar, right? So that you don't forget some of these moving parts. But I did want to share with you just the basic mechanics of a sales funnel, just so you can start to visualize it for yourself. All right. Now, what I want to do next, let's move into why you need to start now, even if you do not have a course concept. All right. So let's just say you are somebody, you're like, I really want to do this, but honestly, I have no clue. I have so many ideas running through my head. I don't know which one to pick. That's completely fine. Okay. You're not alone. It's absolutely fine. Really, the first thing is that, you just want to make a decision. Do you want to do this? If the answer is yes, then we can start to kind of map out your process. All right. So the reason I'm really passionate about getting started now, even before you've got your course concept completely nailed down, is because, you, in a nutshell, guys, you want to start growing your audience and your authority in the marketplace as soon as possible. And you can do that without having a course to sell, right? It is a process. So I'm very passionate about helping people get started sooner rather than later. Okay. Super important. You want to start developing that all important know, like, and trust, and position yourself as that trusted authority in your field by getting in front of your audience. Again, talks, referrals, podcasts, interviews, blogs, there's so many different ways. And you want to invite them to something of value that, again, it requires that they exchange their name and email address for something that you're offering. And that enables you to be able to stay in touch and really, again, develop that relationship. Even if you don't have that next step all locked and loaded, that's fine. Trust me, it's absolutely fine. But you want to start sooner than later, because this is where email marketing becomes so important. By getting in front of your audience and actually offering them something of value where they can opt in meaning, they're giving you their name and email address in exchange for whatever it is you're creating, a PDF or whatever it is that you've decided on. That gives you the opportunity to develop the relationship through over email. And that's really why email marketing comes into play. You have a chance to keep in touch with people so that when you're ready to launch your course, right? So when you're ready, it's like, okay, I'm working on this in the background, but I'm going to keep my email list really engaged. In the meantime, you've literally got an audience that's ready to go, waiting with bated breath for your course to launch. Okay. So you don't want to wait. You want to start soon, regardless of where you're at in your course creation process. And guys, I want to reiterate, these strategies work no matter. I've gotten this question a lot lately. I had a physician email me, an MD specializing in functional medicine. Will these strategies work for me, or will it just work for dietitians and nutritionists? A resounding, these strategies work no matter what your area of expertise is or who your audience is. My specialization is definitely working with people, coaches, integrative health practitioners, MDs that are functionally oriented, chiropractors that offer some kind of functional nutrition aspect. I'm a dietitian myself, so obviously I'm very comfortable in helping dietitians and coaches as well. They work regardless. I shared I shared my client Britton's success story, how and you can check her out, autismdietitian.com. In the midst of COVID, was able to generate not only a very nice income, right? 18,000 profit. Of that, 6,500 was from her very first course launch, right? Just did it, didn't overthink it, got it out there, and made an extra 6,500 right out of the gate. So it does work. And so anyway, I share that with you because I really, I'm passionate, and I really want you to experience the joy of being able to help more people and, frankly, really elevate your lifestyle and, your family's lifestyle by adding an additional revenue stream into your business, right? It's a lower price option. So some people, may find that very attractive. Perhaps they couldn't work with you at that higher price point for one-on-one. So it really provides you a model that is a win-win all the way around. All right. So, what have we talked about today? Wow. I'm going to just do a quick summary. So we have talked about a lot of different things. We started by talking about, why, how basically the leverage model, and why that can be so effective. We talked a little bit about the drawbacks of just being in the one-on-one private model, right? We talked about how quite often, you're gonna eventually max out. Not to mention burnout, guys. I didn't even talk about burnout, but it can be very exhausting if that's all you're doing day in and day out is working with one-on-one clients. It can be very gratifying, but it can be very exhausting. And I hear that a lot from my clients. So I say variety is the key. And certainly moving into this leverage model where you're able to serve more people at any given time, right? I think that's the ticket. We talked about why marketing your course is just as important as creating it. I shared a little insight in terms of the sad stuff that happens when we really obsess over the course content and getting it all perfect and getting everything created, and then we forget the marketing plan. And it's very sad because then nobody knows about it, right? You've got this awesome course, but it's just collecting dust because you have not, in some cases, right? I've seen this happen many times The course is awesome, but the marketing plan really fell flat or was non-existent and nobody bought. So we want to prevent that, right? We really want to put that marketing plan, that sales funnel, that entire process front and center. It is just as important as the course content. It might even be a little bit more important, guys, in all honesty. And then we talked about what exactly is a sales funnel, what are the different components of a sales funnel, and how you can effectively create one to fill your online course. And then we just talked about why you need to start this process now, regardless of whether or not you've got an online course locked and loaded and ready to go, right? We want to start now, start building the relationship with, start building your audience and really creating that trust with your audience so that when you're ready with your course, like they're just waiting. They're like, oh my gosh, finally something I can buy, right? They're waiting with bated breath. That's really what we want. So now I want to share with you the next step, right? I want to share with you, for those of you that are ready to, take that next step and actually start to really put this into motion, start to, literally have every single thing you could possibly need, including handholding and support from me to get that online course ready to go and with a solid marketing plan as soon as this summer, right? So if you are ready to take that step, I want you to take a look at Lucrative Course Blueprint. I'm very proud of this course. It gives you everything you need to successfully market your online course and create it. So you want to go to lucrativecourseblueprint.com. Let me just give you a really quick sampling of the topics that we're going to cover. So we have a module on how to design your course, what your modules will be, how it's going to be delivered, what your sales funnel is actually going to look like in terms of your freebies and webinars, right? We have a module all about how to determine your pricing, which really tends to get people stuck sometimes, as well as the technology to deliver it. OMG, this is such an important topic. The technology is often what I see holding people back from moving into this space because of fear around, I won't be able to do the technology, or, oh my gosh, it's going to be too expensive. I give you tons of free ways to actually deliver your course effectively. So you're not going to want to miss that module on how to determine your pricing as well as the technology to deliver it. Then we have a module all about promoting and selling your course, how to do a marketing calendar. I actually give you samples of my own marketing calendars that you can use for your own business so that you know what happens each and every day during a course launch sequence. Then we talk about copywriting. We have a whole module about copywriting so that you understand how to have influence with, you actually get sample emails from my own launches and all kinds of promotional materials that you can look at as samples. Then we have a module on opt-in pages, sales pages, and specifically how to upsell your paid course, right? So for example, if you're on a webinar, you're delivering value, how do you seamlessly transition to the upsell so that it inspires people to take action, to take that next step, right? So we cover that in Lucrative Course Blueprint. And we even have a module on killer facilitation, how to make sure your group is absolutely amazing. You get great reviews and everybody loves it. So it is a very full course, very, very proud of this course. Like so many templates and handouts and done for you materials. It's actually kind of mind boggling. And I just want to kind of close by saying, I know you can do a successful launch. Really, I know you can, regardless of, whether or not you want to leverage your time with a group workshop or scale your business with an online course, right? Absolutely is. You've got great topics inside of your head. We just need to, get it. We need to get it out into the world. So I'm really confident that this course will help you to do that. Take one of my previous participants, Martha McKittrick, and you can look up Martha McKittrick nutrition.com, and she is known as the PCOS dietitian on Instagram. So Martha took the course in November. And as a result, she was able to generate almost $10,000 in revenue, again, after taking Lucrative Course Blueprint. And this was her absolutely first time offering a course. She called it PCOS Nutrition and Lifestyle Blueprint. She was able to get 27 paid participants into her course, and again was able to generate, actually the exact number was $9,866. And her comment was, your course was so helpful. And she especially found what was most helpful to her is I taught her how to write a killer sales page. So you can check that out as well. Go to marthamckittricknutrition.com. All right, everybody. So that is it for today. I am really happy that you spent some time with me here today. I hope this was beneficial. And I really hope to see you in Lucrative Course Blueprint. Take it out or check it out. Go and look at the sales page, see if you have any questions. And if you do, feel free to reach out at leslie@lesliebitel.com. All right, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And I will talk to you again next time. Bye-bye for now.